Hi guys, it's Holistichealthwithharry. Today I'm joined by my dear friend Neza, who some of you may remember I did an interview with about a year ago. Was it a year and a half ago, Neza?
Yeah, a year ago, something like that.
And we were just talking off air that it was quite quiet, it didn't come out properly. So, and I've always wanted your information to share people because I've seen you on Instagram and Facebook, and you just have a lot. You just share a lot of good stuff. That even I like to think I know a lot, but when I see you posting, commenting on my stuff, or see your posts, I'm realizing, oh, okay, there's the other level that I haven't figured out yet. So yeah, here we go, tapping into your knowledge. Do you want to start with?
I'm super excited.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite topics. It's
oh,
so
there we go.
amazing.
Yeah, your mastery. Do you want to start with at the beginning how you got into it, or do you want to just go in with the big deep talk? It's up to you.
Yeah, sure, I can talk about it. So we're talking about non-ejaculation practices, right? I came across that this is even possible when I was reading some books about Tantra, probably 7-8 years ago or something like that. And I was reading books from Chia, and it was so mind-blowing to me that actually orgasm and ejaculation are two different things, that they can be separated. This was just blowing my mind. And then I was very curious to know more about it. And then a few years later, I found a Tantra school that I became then a part of. And now I'm also teaching this same Tantric yoga course here in Slovenia. We just opened the school. And
Nice.
I also do Tantra massage now since a year and a half ago. So when I found all this in the school related to Hatha yoga, basically, was very interesting to me because it was the first time that I actually saw people living it, not just someone talk about it, someone trying it out, but for example, my teachers have been practicing this for more than 20 years.
Wow.
Let's say my male teacher, he once said that the last time he ejaculated was 18 years ago or something. Yeah, which was
Does that include wet
which
dreams?
was so inspiring.
No wet dreams.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Wow. Okay, I need to learn from him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So that was my beginning, and since then I've been so curious, and I studied a lot, and now I also teach this to men and to women.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, I'm obviously a big fan of the old semen retention, having wrote a little book on it. Not an expert at it by any means, but I must say I gave up porn forever on the 31st December 2019, and it took a long time. So that told me that I was addicted. Even when I knew about semen retention, I was still doing it sometimes. So yeah, I know it's really powerful for men to semen retain. So do you want to touch base with why is it important? Because you said they're different, ejaculation and other stuff, and why do guys even need to practice this? Because we know that we are conditioned to ejaculate. So what's the deal with the semen retention?
Exactly. We all, well, most of us, I guess, especially people who are listening to you, know that semen is a substance in the body that is the most condensed with life energy. So to waste semen is basically to let a huge portion of your life energy, your potential to transform, to be happy, to feel love, to develop capacities of intelligence, intuition, all of this is wasted. So if you are, let's say, if you know about it, it's kind of stupid if you still don't choose it. And more and more people nowadays start to learn about it, and I've seen huge transformations in men who decide to practice this and to really turn it into a path. Because for men, this, as you know, doesn't happen overnight. It's really something that you have to put a lot of effort into. And in Tantra, they say that men aren't born, they're forged in the fire, whereas the women are already born perfect, but they forget it, so they have to discover it again and again.
The feminists are gonna love that. The women are born perfect and men are not. No, twisting what you're saying.
Well, it's just a different perspective on things. we both have to do the work. But men are the ones that require a lot of persistence, a lot of dedication, a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Whereas for the women, this effort is much more effortless, so to say.
Yeah.
Like they're basically training how to surrender. And yes, for men, this journey of, we call it here in my Tantra school, perfect erotic amorous continence. So it's something that is even broader than just non-ejaculation. Because if we look at the most basic ideology of non-ejaculation is basically to retain the semen, right? The seed. And this can be done, let's say, in lovemaking by stopping and then not ejaculating. And by understanding it in such a simplistic way, it usually happens that men just get problems with their enlarged testicles, wet dreams, all kinds of build-up of tensions, frustrations, and many different things, because this energy, once it's stopped, let's say, and not poured out, if you don't do anything with this energy, it stays low. It takes you lower. It sits kind of very heavy. And this is the cause that many people who are practicing just purely non-ejaculation, they later develop problems such as heaviness, even depression, frustrations, and disconnection from themselves. So Tantra teaches that this is only the first stage of the continence. In yoga, it's called brahmacharya, or the perfect control over the sexual potential, which then implies that you transform this energy through two different processes. They're called transmutation and sublimation into the higher, subtler energies. So in the first stage, you would basically transform the substance of this physical energy of the semen, right, to another type of energy that is more, let's say, absorbent in the body, that your body can use to flow through the body to expand. And then through the process of sublimation, basically it lifts the energy from the sexual area to feed, so to say, the higher centers of our being, such as, like I said before, to grow huge love, to develop your intuition, to unlock your mental capacities, to, let's say, be extremely focused, extremely efficient, or even have certain spiritual states of consciousness that are possible only if you retain the seed, basically. Because this is what takes you back to the creator. Otherwise, if you waste this energy, it's like breaking up with oneness.
Dividing yourself, connect just from your source energy, maybe taking you away from your power completely.
Exactly.
And then depression and all that stuff it does ensue. By the way, how does this tie? And by the way, I'm loving this. This is really important information for people because it goes beyond. I focused. This is just my mastery. I focus on the physical health aspects of semen retention, but it's nice to hear from your angle. There's a lot more to it. How does it fit in what you're saying with the idea that men can orgasm in other parts of the body and have full body orgasms as well? Which is Montauk Chia's teaching.
It's a beautiful journey. Every time I see such men around me, I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. You know, like how radiant someone can be and full of purpose and happiness and confidence. Men who practice non-ejaculation in a tantric way, who also sublimated, they're extremely sharp. And then they also develop the states of full body orgasms, which basically mean certain spiritual states of consciousness that you can also achieve through other practices such as prayer or even meditation or anything else. But specifically in Tantra, we focus also on the aspect of lovemaking. So if you use that combined with retaining the seed, it's like a skyrocketing experience, because it goes much, much faster. It's extremely intense. So I can tell you a bit what I'm experiencing in Tantra massage. I've been doing massage for, like I said, 1.5 years, and I've done around 500 massages or so. Quite a lot. And the men that usually come are the type of guys who don't necessarily know too much about Tantra. So I have to explain to everyone just a few principles why they, let's say, are not allowed to ejaculate during my massage, and why am I not, triggering certain things inside of them that maybe some other sex worker does, right? And they're curious and they want to learn more. And then when they hear all these amazing things, multiple orgasms, like they're really like, how is that possible? I've never met such a man. They say this. Or so the first thing that I say is that we have to differentiate between the sexual and erotic energy. And this is kind of the basic understanding of everything related to retaining the seed, and why this is important, how this is achieved. So if we have the center of creation, oneness, right? And here down we have manifestation, which is multiplication of that one. Through the energy of sexuality, even from the word sex, in Latin it means sexio, or to cut, to divide.
Is it? Oh.
Yes.
To divide.
Yes, to divide, which basically means the sexual energy goes from one to many. And this energy is locked inside of us as this urge to procreate. So this is why we have this urge to men to ejaculate, women to have menstruation, and this energy inside of us that just drives us, right? To sleep with someone, to sometimes do all kinds of weird stuff, because it's so powerful inside of us. But we can learn to control it. And what we do basically is we reverse that downward flow of energy. And we orient it back towards oneness. We use that capacity to return back to the source, to basically our supreme self, we call in yoga, or to God. It's all the same. Our self is a reflection of God. And this energy that returns from the creation to oneness is called the erotic energy. And this energy was extremely important in the past. And nowadays we are very uneducated, very disconnected from this. And in ancient times, Eros, the word comes from the Greek god Eros. He was basically the god of piercing people's heart and inflaming them with love, as the symbol of that desire to return to oneness. So this is Eros. It's a desire to merge, desire to go higher, to inspire yourself to something extremely refined, beautiful. If you look at, for example, the Greek muses, or some of the poetry that they were writing, let's say also in India or other cultures, these cultures were extremely erotic, not sexual.
The Kama Sutra.
If you look at one statue of a naked woman, let's say the Aphrodite, she was not sexual. There was not this urge, I will go and get her and, do stuff with her. It was more like, whoa, this awakens such something from my soul and just makes me want to merge with everything.
Yeah, that's true. You're making me think a lot that like sex has been degraded now, just to a lot of meaninglessness and like egotistical behavior,
Exactly.
which does include ejaculation and just this quickies and even it being taken
Exactly.
2 minutes and you get satisfied, she gets satisfied, and it's all done. And it's lost actually
Exactly.
the cultural aspect of beauty of all the poems and the literature and the art of man appreciating people, and the act of sex is not appreciated as much now, and that's
Yeah.
ejaculation's a huge part of it, man. Like semen retention is a huge part on the guy side for guys to really appreciate, life, because there are ways of doing it that are better than that 4 seconds of great feeling and then feeling shitty afterwards. Because like I know, like my God, I spend all my years, and most guys watching this one relate to this. Like every time, I never knew why I was depressed, and one of the main reasons was because I was ejaculating every couple of days, and I thought that was a treat. But then I was really getting depressed from it, and that's not a treat. That's called keeping myself in a low frequency at every level, and not a man, like an undivine masculine man going about. And I don't even blame myself. I blame the culture is set up that way, and I think that's why people like yourself, what you're doing is super important, because we've got a lot of brainwashing out there that, that's why I wrote the book too. Like, there's better ways. I mean, do you think if every guy knew how amazing they could feel with other ways of doing lovemaking and the sacred union, then they'd be doing it, but they just don't get a taste of it. They can't logically even think of how amazing it is.
You know, sadly, I don't think so, because it takes really a spiritual hero to go on this journey.
Mm.
It's not for every man. Every man has the capacity, but not everyone chooses it. And why? Because people are lazy. People have all kinds of mental blockages to deal with, like even when we know what kind of food is healthy, but let's be honest, how many people do truly choose that?
True.
you know
Yep.
and the one thing that people usually are most attracted to in this practice is that the sex is better,
Yeah.
which is true, but first of all, it takes effort, so you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Second, it's a process that goes way beyond just not ejaculating in that moment. What tantrics do to uplift this energy is a daily spiritual practice of hatha yoga. So there are techniques also in Taoism, but especially in hatha yoga, that transform this energy and refine it so that there is no leakage of energy whatsoever. For example, through wet dreams. This is one of the indicators that the energy is leaking still.
It's getting better, but it's still there. Yep.
This is a process.
Mm-hmm.
And men should also not feel ashamed to, let's say, fail once in a while, because it's not failure as long as you continue this journey.
Oh, let me just add there that I've got so much better at not judging myself for doing them. I used to beat myself up so badly. It used to annoy me because not even for the fact I knew I was losing my power. I could see my face the day after, and like I was like, damn, I've lost all the nutrients. Like my face looked shit because I realized soon for me that when I was on a run, my masculine jawline, I looked proper masculine. I don't mean pretty in terms of how I was born. I mean that every guy, when they start practicing this, their masculine can look much better. All men were designed to have like really nice masculine jawline features, which semen retention fucks up. But yeah, like I've learned over time that now it happens, and I'm like, because I'm doing so many other health protocols, it doesn't affect me. Now I've got to that point now that I'm like, actually, it makes me try even harder sometimes. So like, okay, I had a wet dream. I've got to do 4 times more things than normal and back to normal. And I don't even feel it now, to be honest with you. I really come to it. So that's what I want for all guys to like you said, not to judge yourself for something, because people get there, right? If everyone's on their journey, Neza, then surely everyone's on their journey progressing 2 steps forward, 1 step back, then they shouldn't really beat themselves up for something they can't control, because the wet dream frequency will naturally lower over time, I assume.
Well, it again takes effort. So it's not something that you stop ejaculation when you are, let's say, during lovemaking, but it takes daily practice. And also what we do as tantrics, we practice before and after at least 1 hour of intense energy sublimation to leave the energy. Without that, there happens a wet dream for sure.
Right. What is that
So
you're doing specifically? What is that specific? Is that an exercise? What is
yes, it's a set of different exercises from Hatha Yoga designed to uplift the energies.
Cool.
You have to be initiated in these practices by a teacher who has experience in that, because they're so powerful. So it's not really possible to get this kind of stuff online and then learn yourself, but anyone who has this aspiration will find a teacher who knows these things. I can recommend the schools from Atman Yoga Federation. They're in around 30 countries in the world. So also in the UK, there's a few schools. In America, all over Europe, where else? Like there's so many countries, and it's a school with very systematic teachings of also integration of non-ejaculation. So basically all of the students who are joining have, of course, a free will and choice to practice, but let's say 99% of them do train this.
Yeah.
So in our school, we have thousands of people who practice non-ejaculation also, which is so amazing, because let's say in the past, 3.5 years, all my lovers practice this, and very successfully.
Nice.
And I have to say also that when you said this about not judging the guy, it also comes to women, because when a man is with a woman and he's still training, she has to be very compassionate with him.
Yeah.
And it's a lot on her whether he will ejaculate or not.
Yeah.
It's a lot on her.
Well,
and the woman really shouldn't be the one judging.
Yeah,
she should be the one helping. She's also responsible.
That's true. Did you see my post a few days ago I shared on stop making him come by that guy? I mean, that says it all.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's hard enough for us. It's hard enough for us anyway. So if you don't have your partner involved in it, and I think most women that don't practice this would think that they just want it. There's a desire, a psychological, subconscious desire to, because they think that's how he gets satisfied and they get satisfied. So so how can women work with their partners to help them in this way?
Yeah, this is a very good question. I'm teaching actually exactly this to women. I have a women's group, and also during massage, I also teach couples how to practice these things, because through massage, you're hands-on in the experience. It's much easier to show people exactly when is the moment, what kind of attitude you should have towards it. But essentially, a woman has to awaken her eroticism. And she should become conscious of her imprinted sexual patterns. Because sexuality, this energy of sex, as I was talking about, these two different energies, this sexual energy always is in forms of patterns, socialized behaviors, expectations, projections, and is always dividing. So this energy, this impulse within a woman to, let's say, make the guy come, this comes from a very deep subconscious desire to attach to him with a baby.
Okay, yes.
And even if she doesn't get a baby, this is the energy behind it.
Yes,
so
the power of creation. She wants the creation. She wants that creation. And there's nothing more powerful than that creation for. That's what leads us to, I think, a lot of guys to have the desire, if they don't do it at some point in their lives as we're young, to sleep around, the creation energy, spread your seed everywhere. And for women, I guess it's like, I want that baby with that guy at that moment in time. And
so this is in a very unconscious way. It's nothing wrong if you want a child and then, of course, you procreate. But if you don't, which is 99.9% of occasions when we are making love, then it's very stupid to choose that energy which separates.
Yeah.
If you think about the process of ejaculation, the guy is squeezing his muscles, he's contracting, and in that contraction, which has the energy of frustration, of tension, this is what the woman gets. It's nothing really to be so happy about.
Yeah.
So when the woman starts to understand this, she doesn't want the end. She wants to be in this energy of love making into eternity. She wants to be one with him, you know?
Yeah, that's so
And
true.
the woman has the power to initiate the man into erotic energy. This is the role of the woman. And why there's so many men who don't understand this is to a large proportion because of women. Because women are so disconnected from their eroticism, from their feminine capacities, that they lost their connection to this power of initiation of men, power of eroticism, power to be the muse, the inspiring goddess, right?
Yeah.
To not manipulate him into something to attach with, but to just offer yourself as a vessel of God for the love. This is why I don't say sex, I say lovemaking. It's a different thing.
Yeah, and that's subconscious programming, I think, too. It's triggering. I mean, if you think of the word sex in the way that we think of it because of conditioning, it's like a degradation act of almost just, I don't know, meaningless, not compared to lovemaking, which makes it sound more poetic, which it is. And do you know what you said as well? This stuff takes discipline, man. This is not something that you can just, okay, I've got the seed, I've learned about this and I can do it tomorrow and I'm going to be perfect. This is a journey. I'm on the journey, but I'm only beginning the journey and I'm by myself and I'm still on the journey. Then when you get a partner, then it's another journey. And the way I see it, if I do get a partner, is guess what's going to happen to me? Even if my partner's on board with it, I'm probably going to fuck up like a lot at the beginning. You're trying your best. You're like, and I mean, fuck up. Fucking for me is like you just go over the edge, isn't it, and ejaculate, and that's good. But it's going to take time. It's a process. And you also said something else too about what's the word for it? It's delayed reward. It's like these things that we're on. And I think you said something about people being lazy too. It's like society's conditioned for a lot of reasons against delayed gratification for instant gratification. This is why people don't come to this, and this is why it's so hard. But there is huge rewards in terms of your energy, your soul, your mission here, your connections with people by engaging in these practices. And I think for guys, it starts with semen retention. That's a good start, and then it moves on to a partner and a lack of desire to sleep around instead of desire to practice with one person that understands you and work with your partner's energies. It's a mastery, and I love it. I love the masteries that you're talking about. One thing I'd like to add too is this book clearly is not just for guys. This is for training for women, because women need to understand the power of what their guys are messing with that stuff, like retention.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying that it's a lot of responsibility also on women, I mean to say that when you are with a man, it's not just his responsibility to not ejaculate. You can also, with your huge, powerful sexual energy that is oriented towards your selfish desires, you can make the guy ejaculate. Like, for example, all these archetypes of the sirens, you know, of the seductresses, of the women who are tempting the guy into the abyss of darkness. You know, this is the archetype of the woman that we have to transform and purify. Woman has to become the inspiration for the highest. And the man should not take the easy way of the consumer mentality of ejaculation, right? But he should make all the efforts to join this heavenly woman, however lovers he has,
Mm.
into heaven, right?
Mhm.
They say that the man is from earth and the woman is from heaven. So she first has to embody that high energy. You know, she really has to be a walking goddess to inspire the man to go there. Men in nature don't have such a huge connection with this. It's more women who are just like naturally extremely orgasmic, much more embodied spiritually, let's say. And it's amazing that men are also waking up, and well, both of us are waking up, but a man can hugely benefit if his woman is always with God, because in that way she will not make a compromise and let him ejaculate.
Yeah.
And not just physically, but also, for example, emotionally. Or let's say if the guy throws a huge tantrum, this is an emotional ejaculation. And through, let's say, a huge argument that just fires up without control, this is mental ejaculation.
I like that.
And through all of such things,
Yeah.
we have to get awareness and control and always choose the highest.
1 second, they put the my laptop pack is running out. I didn't put it on charge.
Yeah,
My
sure.
mistake. My mistake. That's better. It was running on battery. I didn't even know. So carry on. Yeah, I agree. There's different types. Ejaculation, mental ejaculation. I like that. I like what you're saying. That's making me think, like, because I mean, we are all emotional creatures. I feel like men have a responsibility as divine beings to be a little bit more stable. We all emotional, but that's where we come in. We provide the rock, and we let you flow and be your beautiful energy. So when it's the other way around, in those moments, it is almost like an ejaculation, a mental ejaculation, because we're supposed to be the rocks, with I think the foundation being our purpose, not even our partners, which is like controversial to people. So yeah, like that is an ejaculation of sorts. There's all kinds. Like if you're taking it out on your partner, whether that be like literally ejaculating, because that's just crazy, or just mentally, verbally, yeah, there are all kinds of different types of ejaculations and of spillages of energy at the end of the day.
Yes, and don't think that this is just for men, it's also for women. This is why women menstruate, because during the whole month they accumulated so much uncontrolled energy in terms of unprocessed emotions, emotional outrages, or storms, mental storms, confusions, illusions, all of this without awareness.
Yeah.
This manifests as PMS, as pain during menstruation, and also as, if you see nowadays, this huge trend, if you look into the world, it's that women have period of 7-8 days of so much blood, which is not normal.
Madness. And Neza, that ties in with something that I was reminded Mantok said very famously, that men lose energy via ejaculation, women lose it via menstruation. And again, it might trigger a few people, but that's in line with what you're saying, and I really do believe that's true. Yeah.
It is true. It is the same thing. You know, for a woman, it's extremely hard to sublimate this, to stop menstruation. And it's not the same as stopping the menstruation through, let's say, starving yourself or being disharmonious from having your hormones messed up. It's not that. It's a process that requires a lot of practice, especially your energy practice, daily practice, sadhana, and of course cultivation of the energy on all levels. On all levels, like I said, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, of course, also.
Yeah.
And for a woman, she also has to learn how to have the so-called implosive orgasms, not the explosive. A woman can also lose energy through orgasm. These kind of quick orgasms on the clitoris that are extremely powerful, and she just feels very drained after.
Mm.
This is the type of orgasm that is, let's say, ejaculatory.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So when a woman starts to observe these things, she can also cultivate the state of continence of the energy. And through this, when she's more in that state, she also helps the guy.
Yeah, that's powerful what you said there. So you're saying that sometimes some kind of women's orgasm, because in our community on Facebook, if you see, there's I'd say with the people that know me, there's a lot of women that come and say to me, is it the same for women? And I've always with the semen retention orgasm, so do they lose energy? What would you say then? That some types of women's orgasms, they can actually lose energy. Does it depend on how they feel after it? Is that what with the marker is for them, the best marker?
Yeah, this is the marker. This kind of explosive orgasm usually happens with very masculine type of stimulation on the clitoris.
Oh, okay.
So this is why there is this very smart observation or even trend to stimulate on the inside of the yoni, not just on the outside, because a woman has, let's say, two parts of her genitals. One is the masculine outside part, which is even like physically on the outside, like in a man, you know?
Yeah.
And the inside part, which is more feminine in the nature. So a woman has to learn how to have internal orgasms, because according to statistics, only 1/4 or even less of women ever experienced vaginal orgasms.
Really?
Which is quite, yes, which is very sad.
Wow,
And
I didn't know that.
to a large proportion, this is because their man ejaculates and she cannot have an orgasm in 3 minutes that she can hold it.
No.
You know?
I didn't know that.
She requires deeper, longer stimulation with a man who can control himself.
Yeah.
Only then a woman can become, you know, this orgasmic goddess and have 1,000 different types of orgasms all over the body and all of that, you know.
Yeah.
The first prerequisite is that the guy doesn't ejaculate so fast.
Yeah. And that's the problem with 99% of the stuff out there. Like,
yeah, you know, here you really go from sex to love making, because you cannot make love, create love, amplify love, and enter all these amazing states of fusion, of expansion, of different perceptions of time, space, all of these, if you are only there for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, that's why in Tantra we say, actually just the stage of foreplay lasts at least for half an hour. And then you start penetration, and penetration should last for a few hours. You know,
like the sound of that.
I mean, I can tell from my personal experience that after maybe 5-6 hours, you can be in such expanded state that it's like, it's so deeply nourishing for the soul and for your spiritual evolution, that this is when everything starts to make sense. You know, in this state, it's like, it's so clear why you're here on this planet, why you're with this person, what is going on. You know, you're just in a state of ecstasy.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this. You're giving us great information from your wisdom. I've got a simple brain. So from my point of view, like, I believe there is different levels of evolution. You can take this with a partner, and it takes practice and it takes a long period of time. So I've read in the Man Talk Cheetah. I'm going on theory, but this makes sense to me. So then there's man, woman practicing with each other and patience, and then maybe we can start orgasming different partners or both of you in different parts of the body, and then you can start building it towards sending that energy towards your whole body, just being letting go of each other. And then beyond that, I don't know if you meant that with what you said, there's but I feel your vibration is definitely raising when you're practicing that for a long period of time and you're really practicing it. But then they say in Chia books that you can even get to a place of ego dissolution, and you can get tastes of non-duality with this practice that goes beyond the full body orgasm and the pleasure aspect towards the seeing your soul and you're not different to me. And that I believe that's really what motivates me to engage in this practice, and for me to think, I don't want to be, I'm happy to be single, but I think it's a really awesome mastery to work towards. What a goal. Like, we're talking about ego dissolution, we're talking about beautiful perfection with lovemaking. It's mad.
Yes. You know, it starts as something that everyone is doing,
Mm,
but to get enlightened through it, there's a lot of things that we have to surrender. And
mm,
first of all, our own pleasure. It's not about this at all. It's not about
mm,
chasing something, it's about giving. So, in that kind of lovemaking, it's not you who wants to be satisfied. You're offering everything from your heart.
mm,
So, that's why for tantric lovemaking, or for, let's say, erotic lovemaking that can also be related to the Taoist tradition, it's very necessary, first of all, to have mutual love.
mm, mm.
And it's not just superficial love. We usually mix sexual attraction to love.
Yeah.
And we should really set much higher standard of what love is. So
Mm,
not only one person should love, both people should love each other very deeply.
mm,
And then the second part is to practice non-ejaculation. And then the third part to achieve these states is to to transfigure.
mm,
And transfiguration means to see beyond. It
mm.
means to see through the veils of the physicality, of personality of that person, to the essence.
Through the duality we live into the non-duality state.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh
yes.
God, your essence.
So you are not making love with the name of your lover and that
Mm,
personality and all these memories and, all of that.
mm.
You're making love to the soul, and even beyond that, to the divine aspects that they represent.
Mm.
And when you're in this state, when you're making love, you're flying. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
You're offering everything, but not from yourself. You're offering also through yourself. And then we can truly say that
Mm.
the love making completely transcends the individual experience and enters the spiritual realms.
Yeah. Yeah, this is making sense. Have you frozen? Have we frozen? I couldn't tell there. I was like, okay, I couldn't actually tell if we'd frozen, like, because sometimes last interview I did, we froze, and I was like, has the connection gone? Like, was she doing on purpose? Like, okay, so we're here. That's cool. No, I agree. I'm loving this. I'm learning so much, and it's reminded me. Because listen, I might know some of the information in my own way, my own version of my stage, but it's nice because I'm still on a journey too. So I'm just, for myself personally, selfishly, just going, oh yeah. So I'm being reminded of what I want to do with my life. What I want to do for myself. And I agree with you. It goes way beyond the ego trip of self-satisfaction. Even though I might still have those thoughts, and especially for starting out, I'm human, and especially at the beginning, we're going to have those thoughts. Ultimately, your higher self knows that you're going to move past that with practice, from ego trips and validation to true essence and beauty and mastery. And I really, for me, enjoy the appeals of many things in life about delayed gratification, because everything I've ever done in so many areas of my life, like even learning the ukulele, you don't get good in 1 second. It takes practice. Anything we're doing now, what your mastery you're sharing with me, my books, everything, it just takes time. And that aspect is something that I love, and it's always appealed to me with what they call white tantra. And I'm endlessly fascinated by what you're saying, man. I resonate completely with all of it. Can I ask you quickly, have you entered into a long-term relationship with someone recently? Because I feel like you have, with the posts I've been seeing on Instagram and stuff.
Yes, yes, yes. I have a partner.
Cool. And this happened recently, didn't it? It was like sometime last year, I think.
Year and a
Correct.
half ago.
Okay, cool. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about like relationships? What are you learning from relationships, in terms of what it was like before, why you want to engage in a relationship, and what you're learning through your relationship, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. Uh, in Tantra, we don't take relationships as a commodity. It's
Mhm.
a spiritual tool.
Mhm.
And it's one of the most powerful spiritual tools because it offers you a clear reflection. You see yourself much quicker, get feedback, and have an opportunity to transform. Whereas if you're alone, which is such a trend nowadays, all these independent women who don't need men, this is
Yeah.
basically just running away from
Mm.
reflection of yourself
Right.
and not dealing with all kinds of blockages that we have around the masculine energy.
Mm.
And I also went through my whole big process with that, so I can speak from experience. But for me, the couple practices have been one of the most transformative ones. Also in Tantra, lovemaking, it's not a recreation, it's a spiritual practice. And it even is more structured. So it has a certain frame. It is integrated with your daily practice, with your whole lifestyle, with even things like I don't live with my lover. And every time after lovemaking, we separate. And we sleep always separate. Because in that way, you cultivate that polarity, that magnetism between you and your lover.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most important things. If you want to have the amazing joining of two extremely polarized poles to create a huge energy, you have to yourself cultivate very good polarity. Right. I have to be extremely feminine, he has to be extremely masculine.
Love it. Yeah.
So this is, the couple practice is not something that you just do when you're together. You do it every day, all day. And then when you meet, it's a huge celebration in anything you do, because everything has that essence of merging. Even when I'm not around him physically, I feel all the subtle energies from the last lovemaking. And actually, it never stops because he never stops it with ejaculation. It's so clear that as we continue the lovemaking practice, every time it's a continuation of the previous experience. And then it's always just going higher and higher and higher. For example,
you're trying to say that it's not like how the I guess how most people do it, where it's just like boom, reset. You're always on that evolutionary journey with understanding and literally your levels of consciousness, which you're playing around with the same person, which provides stability because you're going to get to know each other at deep levels, so you can really fully trust and let go. Because I guess with these practices, true, I don't understand how you could fully let go. Maybe you can with loads of different people having sex with. Maybe you can, I don't know, but I guess it'd be a lot easier to learn to let go, which by the way is one thing that's been on my mind that stops us from having these experiences, because we're so in ego that with partners that we just don't know how to let go fully with them. So when you have the same partner over again, it'd be much easier, I would thought, to let go, because you just feel comfortable around people. They know you, you know them, and you're practicing, you've got the same journey together. So
yes, for sure, it's extremely important, first of all, to have huge love. So it's not just about how many lovers you have, but how deeply you are with someone. And I've had experiences, I'm in a polyamorous relationship, and I also do have other lovers. And even if I have another lover who I don't see so frequently, I never compromise on the depth of connection. And this is what actually separates these random encounters of sex from truly divine love. For most people, it's a bit confused, all of that, but this is why it's, let's say, easier to start practice with one.
Are you saying, because I'm really interested in the polyamory too, I'm so like, there's so many ways that we can take this, but are you saying that, because I feel like how most people would do polyamory, sleeping with loads of people, is they'd have it in their brains, and maybe me too, that where we're judging, okay, this partner is a certain level and I'm this partner's a different level. You treat people differently. And I felt like you said there, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you treat them because it's your mastery and it's such a serious consciousness thing and practice for you that you just walk into it. And I guess they're the same with the same, you treat everyone the same because it's about the discipline, the mastery. It's not about like, because I know out there we don't treat everyone the same. We're like, you know, you have lovers, you have affairs, and you don't look at your partner you had an affair with the same as your wife that you love. You know, not everyone is the same in our minds. Mm-hmm.
Yes, remember before when I said that you see the divine aspect in your lover. So for me, my only lover is Shiva, the divine masculine. And when I make love with Benedict, my partner of 1.5 years, I make love with Shiva. When I make love with some other lover, I make love with Shiva. You know, and in that way, when it's not just something that you say as a nice thing, it sounds so amazing, you know, but truly to be able to be in that state, this of course is practice. So here it's a huge practice of letting go of attachments, of fetishes, fetish, how you say in plural, from like having fetish.
Yeah, fetishes. I think. Yeah, fetishes.
Yeah, fetishes. Yeah. And all these different things that are tying you to, attaching you to one lover or to many lovers.
Yeah.
Because both can have shadows. And the only way that polyamory can truly be multiple love relationships is that you start with love. It's not about sex. It's not about love making. It's about love. So if you're not in love, you're not making love.
Yeah.
And how to fall in love, you cannot plan it. You don't know when it will happen or if it will happen. And also, if you are in love with someone, it doesn't mean that you have to be in a relationship. So for myself, it's been a huge journey of feeling what is meant for me and not to chase something. I want to have, let's say, 3 lovers and then I would go and search for them. You know, I have to just surrender and let God show me what is integrated in that moment. For me and for other person to learn something, because at the end of the day, this is just about transformation. It's just about going to your higher self. It's not about any of these pleasurable experiences at all.
No, but then I think there's a really fun aspect is how I look at it in actual transformation and growth. I think it's really fun. And you do too. Like there is, it's not fun in the sense that what other people think of it, but actually it is incredibly rewarding. The states of consciousness, the gratitude, the growth. You're never stagnant because you're not going downhill as the ejaculation and all this stuff is happening. You're going uphill, and that's why we came here to do, didn't we? We came here to rise in our own process of ascension, like to become the best version of ourselves. So that is a lot of fun. I can't think of anything more fun than what we're doing, in a way.
Yeah. Yes, it's extremely beautiful. To me, how I feel is like it makes me so incredibly happy to experience such states of love and adoration and romance and all of this. To me, this is much more rewarding than sitting in a cave somewhere and meditating.
Yeah,
you know,
too.
This is also a valid path, the monastic path, but I choose the tantric path. For me, it's like amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's my jam too, because I think that for me, I was brought up in the Matrix world, and it's such a shock. I mean, it's almost too much of a shock to go from. I'm still connected to this world, you know. So I think we can get a balance there with Tantra compared to the cave is just going the complete opposite. And I also wonder, like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I've always thought that if I was to go in a cave and have these amazing experiences and I had no one to share it with, I personally find that a little selfish. Did I come here to help people? I think I did.
Yes.
I don't want to sit in a cave and not help people and have these amazing experiences and to be happy 24/7. I'd rather suffer here and help people.
You know, if you see any of the accomplished spiritual masters, even though they were in caves, they also went out to help people. And this is how you discern, how you discern someone who is of a big spiritual caliber from someone who is just selfishly wanting to get spiritually liberated. You know, it's not even about this. It's like you say, it's about helping others.
Yeah.
I love the story of one of my favorite enlightened masters, women masters, Yeshe Tsogyal. And it shows actually how a tantric, a woman, a man, integrates also being alone. You know, she was a consort, a partner of the famous Padma Shambhava. He was the one who brought Tantra to Tibet. And they were sexual partners, so they were practicing the sexual tantra, and in that way also reaching all these spiritual states and getting paranormal powers and helping others, teaching others. And before she reached all of this, at some point she went to a cave and meditated there in solitude for 20 years.
Wow. Jesus.
And then she came out as an enlightened master. And she was ordered to go around on a pilgrim in Asia and to spread the teachings. And she encountered 10 robbers and they tried to rape her. And because she was such an awakened woman, had such a state of devotion, such a state of love, transfiguration, she just saw these robbers as gods, and she was able to make love to all 10 of them and basically spiritually liberate them. They all became enlightened after.
Wow. Is that a story or a truth?
No, this is the truth.
Oh, I like it. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, this is the kind of state that you can achieve as a tantric woman, and this always inspires me the most. You know, it's not about all these powers on the outside that we imagine what is the power of a woman. It's not about this. It's about how hugely you can love, how you can inspire someone to go up.
By the way, Neza, I got one that inspires me that you reminded me of that's kind of like that. It's with the Buddha, and I think this really happened. So there was a man that came to kill the Buddha. He heard the Buddha was teaching. He got a knife and he said, I'm going to go and kill the Buddha. He knew where Buddha was by a tree or whatever. Took the knife, went up to him, and the Buddha just smiled at him. At this point, he was enlightened. The Buddha was just smiled at him sincerely and looked in his eyes, and the robber just dropped his dagger and said, wow, that's the pure spirit of the enlightened being. He became his most famous disciple, I believe. I'm like, wow, that's such a level of high vibration enlightenment that you can, it's such a marker for us to do, because me and you, like, we know that we all have challenges when we enter the matrix with sometimes close friends and family. We've had them in the past where we get pulled sometimes into their energies and, you know, all this stuff. But if you really transfigure and enlighten yourself to a point, you get to a point where that won't even matter. Like, and it's always, even if it won't happen in this life, it's just a nice thing to think about, and and to know it's possible. So it's inspiring. These stories are really inspiring. They're what our highest potential always are, and they're great examples of them, those two.
Yes, I would recommend everyone to study as much as possible the lives of saints, of spiritual masters, because when you read such things, when you read the sacred texts, you enter a reality that is beyond your daily life. And this becomes as an anchor for you to always have this aspiration to go beyond. And this is why I always say, you know, it starts with the ground level practice of, let's say, non-ejaculation, of healthy diet, good sleep, emotional well-being, mental well-being. But as you start to tap into all these spiritual states and discover that you want to go to something beyond all of this, you know, when your heart becomes more and more inflamed, it doesn't stay like this. You have to constantly feed the heart. And you do this by studying all the spiritual texts, by practicing a lot of devotion, just practicing love in daily life. And this, to my experience, is the most important practice that goes together with non-ejaculation practices to truly transform.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, by the way. And that is the path that I feel that you've definitely walked upon. And that's much admiration to you. It's true mastery and devotion. I feel like everyone's on different missions here, different timelines. So, you know, I'm getting there too. Maybe I'm not as devoted in that sense, but, you know, people surprise you all the time. And I do think that there's a place for people that are just taking their devotion to levels because they want to, you feel like yourself want to experience the highest, purest level of consciousness possible and the most fun here in duality. And then you'll inspire people. We all inspire people in our own different ways. So I've got to give you massive props. Before we go, Neza, is there anything that I didn't ask you? I know we touched base on quite a few things, but did I miss out anything that you probably did?
No, I'm very happy we talked about amazing things. I could talk for ages more and just ask you all about your own experience, but maybe we continue some other time.
I'll tell you what, though, I definitely want to do a part 2 with you because that's super interesting. We'll get some more topics going because I really feel in my heart that I need to hear what you're saying for me, selfishly, if I'm being honest. But then I know also that other guys will, and even women will want to hear this information because I get really I forget sometimes.
If people also can comment their questions and we can collect these questions and also answer to them, I would love that.
Done. And then we can create more content for what you said around what they say. I agree with you, and I'll definitely cut clips from it. Yeah, let's do that, Neza. That's really powerful. I think it's really important. We speak the same language, and you're devoted to this, and it's really powerful. By the way, quickly before you go, so what have you set up there, and how can people come up there, and how does it work? What you set up there? And where are you? Which country are you in?
I'm situated in Ljubljana, Slovenia.
Okay.
It's a tiny country next to Italy and Croatia and Austria and Hungary. It's in the heart of Europe.
Cool.
So we have a Tantra yoga school here. It's all in English and it's a part of the International Yoga Federation. It's called Atman.
Oh, okay.
And people can find this also online, and there's also an online version of the course. It's a weekly course that goes on for several years, and it's very profound, and it's about authentic teachings of Tantra. So people can also come here to Ljubljana to receive a tantric massage from me if they want. I already had some people from abroad coming, and I would love to also offer this. It's a huge part of my soul work.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, even that, I'm definitely going to get involved in the course in the future. I know that my life path is directed towards kind of similar things to what you're talking about, and because I want to play around with realms. So I just want to honor you for what amazing work you're doing, and it's been absolutely fabulous interviewing you. I've learned so much. I know the people here that speak the language that we both talk about, it's like, this is powerful stuff, and it's important because we all forget sometimes. We're stuck in the matrix. We get caught up, and it's the people we surround ourselves, the content that we watch. When I can't physically be there with you, they can't be with me, then this is the stuff that's going to educate and re-educating us into paths where either they end up with you, meeting you, or they're just inspired by you and they go and do something similar to you. So yeah, thanks Neza for this. It's been really good.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we did this video, and I admire you a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Holistichealthwithharry with Neza out on Sacred Sexuality. Peace, guys.